It's just really pretty outside right now and it instantly put me in a very cozy mood. I want to start out a new year with a TBR video because there is something about it that just feels right. It almost feels like starting out a new journal for the new year or writing down your goals. I know I make TBR video a lot on this channel, but honestly it's a great way for me to share interesting piece of work that I come across on the internet with you guys without me having to read it. It's a way for me to cheat, but more importantly, because I haven't read the story yet, they are not plagued with my opinion, so it's really up to you guys whether you wanted to head into a piece or not. Always kind of slack off reading toward the end of the year historically. Always something about the new year that just motivate you to get back into a routine and starting a new habit. So without further ado, let's get into the TBR that I put together for the year of 2025. The first story we have is honestly no longer a TBR because this is my current read. I have started reading this story on January 1st. We have Nomura by A Hair on My Lip, and this is a Russian fic that has been translated into English by Delilius. This is a novelty Mafia AU story that starts out with Hermione living her ordinary life. She's an unspeakable at the Ministry of Magic. One day she received an assignment that kind of pulled her into this whirlwind of the Mafia world. She got caught in something way beyond her imagination, and in order to protect herself and the people that she loved, she must team up with Draco Malfoy. It is the only option, and we already know how it's gonna turn. I put this story in my most anticipated spot for a TBR just because I love reading Mafia AU story, and honestly I haven't had much experience with Mafia AU story, but the story that I did read in this trope are just like chef kiss. I would jump into any Mafia AU story that is thrown out there. Now what is special about Nomura is the fact that I come across so many fan art. If you find yourself looking at these art before and you find yourself feeling something about it, it's time for you to head into Nomura because these art are literally made for this story, okay? Secondly, the way that the synopsis is written in this story kind of give me some kind of emotion. It just like stir my inside for some reason. So obviously I was there, okay? And I've been there for the past week. I'm like 80% through with this story already. I promise you guys that I won't let my opinion plague any of these stories that I'm gonna share today, so stay tuned for my opinion on Nomura in a later video, okay? Now the second fic that I have on my TBR is Meet Me at Midnight by For a While. In this fic, Hermione is also a ministry worker, I believe, and she is also an unspeakable if I'm not mistaken. During one of her assignments, she got cut by a Malfoy heirloom, but because of that cut, the Malfoy magic registered her as the new bride. So every day at midnight, it transports her to Draco's bed. The reason why I put this story on my TBR is because I read The Darkwood one toward the end of the year last year, and it was actually the last piece of long fic that I've read with Hermione in 2024. And you guys already know that I love The Darkwood one with all of my heart. That transporting to bed at midnight element of this story just remind me tremendously of The Darkwood one. And I'm not trying to compare story, but I'm just saying that because I enjoyed The Darkwood one so much, I wanted to read this story and see how it turned out as well. This fic is actually something that I did a swatch on, meaning I have read a little bit of the story already and I liked it so far to the point that I have finished. This story is also around just 150k work and post-war, which means that even if there's angst, it's not a type of angst that makes my inside boil. Also, we have Not Pot as a side pairing and a range of very cute and delightful tags. So I feel like this fic just hit a sweet spot for me in terms of length, vibes, synopsis, like everything just feels right about this fic. So that's why it's on my TBR. The next fic that I have on my TBR is Best Beware My Sting by Wandering Fair. So this fic is an 8th year piece that circulates around Draco, Hermione, and Pansy. Now if you guys know me, you guys know that Pansy is among my favorite side character with Hermione. She is someone that I am emotionally invested in. By looking at the tag for this story, I feel like this is going to err on the side of a darker and more realistic 8th year recovery. It makes me a little bit chicken now because it is just right on the side of my comfort zone. But also I have a good experience with Tea and Necromancy, which is another 8th year kind of realistic darker, so I have hope for this, okay? I have trust in myself that I can do this. I'm super drawn to some of the tags that the author has displayed here. We have some kind of unique pairing because we have Pansy and Ginny. Even though I know that Pansy is made to be gay a lot in Hermione fic, I just have never seen her with Ginny before, so it's gonna be interesting. Secondly, I saw the mention of Muggle technologies, and I am drawn to this type of story because I just feel like they are closer to us than, you know, like the ancients magic and you know, like it's maybe easier for me to get emotionally attached to them if I feel like they're my best friend. We also have Good Slytherin if you're looking for those, but I know like Good Slytherin is just like the norm these days with Hermione story, honestly. And last but not least, we have a Mr. Darcy style hand flex. That's the tag that drew me in, okay? That's the tag that just hit the nail. If you guys are my best friend on here, you guys know I have a thing for a hand. I just have a hand fetish, in short. Anything that mentions hands, best believe I'm gonna be there. Lastly, we have that this fic is around 100,000 words. Fits perfectly into my reading habit. Go on my TBR. The next story that I have is somewhat more popular in my opinion because I come across this fic many times on the internet in the communities. We have The Portrait of Draco Malfoy by Silver Dragon Gemini. I believe that this fic is post-war, but it does have elements and mention of Death Eater. I've already explained this before on my channel and you guys know it, but I don't do wartime story very well anymore just because I'm so anxious. I'm just so worried. But you guys know that Draco and Hermione is at their best in wartime story. I feel like I cannot sacrifice that part. So a fic that is post-war but has elements of Death Eater, it's kind of like a toned down version of wartime story for me. I can do because I do want to enjoy, you know, I do want to enjoy the enemy to lover element in war, but I don't really want to go through the anxiety. So the length of it at 180,000 words is a little bit longer. The tags are also to my liking, including the one where Tongue is alive. Because she's a well-loved character, I feel like the characterization of Tongue in all of the stories that I have read with her in it is always top tier. I am hopeful for the Tongue in this story as well. So I don't actually know anything more about this fic, but as I've explained earlier, I have come across this fic across the forums, across the community, seen so many raving and review about this fic online, and I'm curious myself and I wanted to head in here and see what is going to happen. Second to the last TBR item, I have The Injury of Finally Knowing You by Vanilla Sage. This story starts in 8th year with a lot of unhealthy coping mechanism, and some of the tags here are a little bit more interesting, and it's around 135,000 words. It has a trope that I haven't really had much experience in, which is like old flame, like past relationships. So I'm also curious to see where this trope leads me because it's a first. My anticipation though is that I get a load of delicious angst, and you know that type of angst where it's like pulling your heart out and like tugging your heartstrings type. I'm looking for that type of angst as long as I have a happy ending waiting for me at the end. So we're gonna see how it's turned out because the synopsis doesn't really go into too much details and I honestly don't know what is waiting for me. It's definitely hopeful. I'll be fine. The last fic that I put on my TBR, I think I've already put it on my TBR twice before and I haven't read the story yet. Now, Green Light by Serene Musafir. This is a 440,000 word fic, which is the main reason why I haven't head into it. I'm just that type of person that I need to get over the fact that the fic is like 440,000 words. I actually read the first chapter of this story on the plane home. My head wasn't in it at the time, so obviously I couldn't finish out the story, but from what I have read in that first chapter, it gives me tremendous. The seventh husband of Evelyn Hugo vibe. It start out with like an interviewer and the main character kind of like, you know, going over her life. I feel like that's the vibe that we're getting with Draco and, you know, the person interviewing him in this story. And this fic is also something that I feel like will have a lot of puzzle for me to solve. I feel like it will give me the motivation to keep turning the page. It almost feels to me like the 440k word would just fly by very easily by some of you guys. It's been recommended to me. It's been shared all over the internet. So I know that it is among the pilers and I really don't want to miss out on such a piler just because I'm scared of the length. But overall, I feel like I'm gonna get a journey with this story. So let's see if this is one of the journeys that I get to go on for 2025, okay? So that's all of the items that I put on my 2025 TBR for now. You guys know that this will change constantly as I start a new year. But if you guys have any other items that are your most hopeful and most anticipated fic in 2025, feel free to drop it down below in the comments for me and I will definitely take a look at them, okay? I love getting recommendations from you guys as well, so please give me those. I hope that you are keeping warm if it's snowing and pretty where you are. Take care, friends, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye! Also, thank you so much for all of the well wishes that you guys put on my last video. I'll be sure to reply to every single comment, okay? But I do want to say it again. It means so much to me to hear your kind words. Thank you so much.